Hey, welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn, and this is the 2022 year ahead reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, and Venus. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. As you may have noticed, for this reading, I'll be focusing on those with the sign of Aries in Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, and Venus. And so the reason for that is this year, the 2022 tarot card of the year is the Lover's card. And the Lover's card is represented by, is the astrological representation for the sign of Gemini. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And so I do feel like that is going to have a major influence in the tarot readings for this year in terms of communication and also in terms of relationships. And so that is why those are kind of highlighted this year for the 2022 year ahead reading. So let's get into this. The cards for the overall energy for 2022 are coming from the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck by Marcella Krall, the Life Purpose Oracle deck, and the Romance Angels Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. And so the card that came out for the Sacred Symbols deck is Grounded, and it came out in the reverse, Counseling, and also Separation. So the overall energy based on these oracle cards is really painting a picture for me that there is a type of, it's not that you're ungrounded per se. Normally when you see the ungrounded card talks about feeling spacey, confused, unable to focus. And that usually when you see this card, it's meaning that you're feeling scattered. I don't really get the sense that you're unfocused. I get the sense that you are focused, but you might be focused on the wrong thing. You're pouring your energy into the wrong places and focusing on something that might not necessarily feed you in the way that you needed to, and that could be something that's related to like there's some psychology attached to that. When I see the counseling card here, I do get the sense that this is something that is taught behavior or something that you've been doing for a long time that you might not even realize that you're doing, and kind of entering into unhealthy patterns or unhealthy behaviors. And especially with the separation card here, it really looks like this is kind of leading towards some sort of interpersonal relationship or relationship. It is this year is the year of the Lovers, with the Lovers tarot card being the crowning card for the year. And so in terms of this showing up in this particular portion of the spread, it is really talking about focusing your energies on a relationship that might not necessarily be the best relationship for you. And this is probably the time to really kind of take the opportunity to sit down with a mental health therapist, a mental health professional, a therapist, a counselor, to really kind of dig down to the root of why you cycle through the same patterns, specifically when it comes to relationships. With the grounded card here, there is an anchor present, and I really do feel like the purpose and the reason for this is because you are looking for something that makes you feel grounded. You are looking for something that is long-lasting, is steady, will keep you, secure. And I feel like you're not necessarily finding that. And that is kind of playing itself out in your relationships again, because you might not necessarily be making the right choices, or kind of like doing like this thing where you're cycling through, like I said, the same patterns over and over again. And I feel like your need that's driving you is because you're searching for something where you can build something that is secure and build something that will last. In addition to the initial reading, this card is a life purpose card. And so outside of the original meaning, for some of you, this might really be calling for you to consider that you could be in a space where you are a healer yourself, where you heal with your kind words, wise advice, and an empathetic ear. The card says that people frequently reveal their deepest secrets and worries to you because you're a natural counselor who channels wise advice and kind support. This card comes as a counselor for you, advising you to choose a career path involving this type of work. Since you've already performing the functions of a counselor, you might as well receive a check, right? In addition to the emotional fulfillment that counseling brings to you. The angels can support any need or desire you may have for classes that will teach you skills and lead to proper licensure. Your counseling path can be along the lines of life coaching, where you help clients organize their goals and intentions into achievable steps, or you can blend in spirituality through traditional pastoral counseling, or via the more alternative path of giving readings. Your work could also involve writing or teaching. The main point is that this life purpose uses words as a healing modality. With the proper training, you're highly qualified to conduct counseling work. Please don't think that your own life needs to be perfect before you can help others. All counselors have their own ego issues and human imperfections. The point isn't whether you have these character and life quirks, it's what you do with them that counts. As long as you listen to your clients' feelings with an open heart and mind, their needs will be served. And looking more into the separation card, from the Romance Angels is saying that time apart from your partner is on the horizon. The Romance Angels are helping you during this period of separation from your partner. This card comes to you as an indication of angelic support as you spend time away from each other. While you're apart, the angels can help you fill your hours with healthy activities, which will help your present or future relationships. This card may indicate a temporary period of aloneness, such as while your partner is traveling for business, or a time in your life where you're single and preparing for your next relationship. It can also mean a marital separation or divorce. Call upon the angels for support and guidance during these transitions. They will help you discover the deep healing to be mined as you spend time alone, which prepares you for the next part of your relationship journey. And again, this is a general reading, and so it will fit different people in different ways. But if you are in a space where you're kind of like in between relationships and there is something that you're yearning for, but you're unsure of how to navigate the next steps, then, like I said before, potentially going to speak with a therapist or a counselor, or even speaking with a close friend or someone that you love. You love and trust, and also you respect their insight into a situation. This will be a good time to do that. You can also speak to someone who does readings, or you can spend a little bit of time writing, or using your own emotions that you're dealing with during your separation as a way to heal other people by writing, or journaling, or sharing your feelings or thoughts with other people in a written format. Okay, so looking at the tarot for 2022 for Aries, the cards that came out for the overall energy for the year is the Three of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. So, looking at these cards, it really looks like with the Knight of Swords present here, it looks like you are very focused and very determined, and kind of moving towards something that you're passionate about. This could be with the Three of Pentacles, it's talking about collaborative efforts. It could also mean like taking the time to learn how to do something, going through like a training period, which is also kind of like what we were talking about with the counseling card, is really like learning how to do that, really getting help from outside people who might have like a specific skill set, and learning from them how to proceed or how to do something, getting better at something that you already know how to do. And I feel like you're in that space where you're feeling like you really want to move forward and you really want to move ahead, and you're doing so during this year. You feel like you want to you want to kind of grab the bull by the horns, right? That's like the type of energy that is present with the Knight of Swords. So so for some of you, this could mean, like I said, getting an internship, doing like a training program, just spending some time learning a new skill, or kind of focusing on a skill that you already have, and kind of going a little bit deeper into studies there. there is also the element of kind of moving into a situation where you're not really 100% sure about what's happening, because with the Knight of Swords, the one thing that we do have to kind of be mindful of is there's this saying that fools rush in. And so whenever you're going into a new situation or new uncharted territories, you just want to be mindful of what that territory is before you charge in, and understand what's happening, or what you're committing to, or what you're moving into, or that space that you're moving into, because the Three of Pentacles could also be talking about like a third party situation. So if this is what you're moving towards, or what you're passionate about right now, or what you're really focused on, you want to be aware of what that situation is, or dealing with someone in a relationship, what situation they're in, what their standing is, if they're single, if they're currently in a relationship with someone else. Just being mindful of what that situation is before you, just completely charge into it head first. Okay, so looking at the full year spread, it does look like for you this year, it's going to be there's going to be a huge focus on your finances, but also on like your emotional health and wealth, right? There's a lot of things that are going to be coming out that you might not necessarily have known. You might be finding out a lot of secrets, and so you're going to have to step into the space this year where you're going to have to remain hopeful about the direction that you're moving in, no matter what happens, right? The lesson in this year is really going to kind of fall back on your ability to trust your intuition, especially in terms of making decisions about where you want to go, and what direction you want to move in, despite what everyone else is saying, or despite what the popular opinion might be. And that is kind of showing up for you, especially in the first month of the year, which is January, with the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is really about kind of like leaning into your intuition, and really like stepping into that space where you kind of quiet the noise out, and not focus on what you see, but really focus on what you intuitively know is the right thing to do based on your intellect, right? Being able to think through it, and not being, just kind of like rushing into anything, but really sitting with something and really using your intellect and your intuition to kind of guide you into making good decisions about where you want to go. Now, smack dab in that, in February, sometime, you're looking at the Tower card. What this means is that in the first 4 months of the year, you're going to really be placed in a position where what you think is securing your life, and what you've really been depending on thus far, might be removed from you. The Tower card is really talking about taking something away, stripping it down to the studs, because the lesson in this is to build something that is built on solid ground, and that will survive. And so the things that are not steady in your life, and the things that are not necessarily for your greatest good, those things are going to be removed from you, in preparation of building something a little bit better, something a little bit more secure, something that's going to be long lasting. And so that's probably tying back to the Grounded card that came out in the first spread. It's probably really leaning into this Tower moment that's happening sometime in February. So for some of you, that could mean the loss of a job, having to move from where you're at, probably from, like moving out of your home, moving, like I said, losing your place of employment, but really going through a period of like financial stress. So if you are depending on someone for finances, like that person might not be available to help you anymore. And so you're kind of like, kind of feeling a little bit out on your own, out in the cold, and really just trying to focus on, what you have to do. But in the middle of all of that, we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is, you are trying to live this life of luxury. So you really do want to be mindful about spending above your means, spending money that you don't have, overspending in any sort of way, especially if you're going through any type of financial issues. It's going to be a little bit counterintuitive to what you're trying to do, what you need to be doing. So if you get money, if you get money coming into you in the first couple of months of the year, you want to be mindful to hold on to those funds, because come April or so, you're going to need those funds to kind of be like a stopgap in between when you are able to be financially fluid again. Some of you might find, like I think I said this before, that someone who you've been depending on financially, whether or not they gave you money or they help pay for, the place where you live, they might not be doing that anymore, and kind of telling you that, basically everything is on you, or they might not be able to do it because they lose their job. But there is going to be a little bit, like I said, a little bit of a financial struggle within like the first 4 months of the year. That's really going to affect your living space, your living quarters. It could be, like I said, you losing a job. But what happens right after that is that you are going to be presented with several opportunities. That is being represented here by the Seven of Cups. So when the Seven of Cups shows up, like I said, you are going to be presented with several opportunities. There are going to be several options. This could be like multiple job offers, multiple relationships, multiple places to live. It's an abundance of things being presented to you at the same time. And so it's up to you to really make a decision about, like who you want to date, where you want to live, what type of job you want to have. But it really is an opportunity for you to kind of redirect yourself into a new space. Like I said, you might be focusing on something new. You might be trying to learn something new. And so this might be the opportunity to do that. You do want to be mindful about looking at and looking at relationships as a financial plan. Like, being in a relationship is not a financial plan, right? Not to say you can't meet somebody who wants to take care of you, but I feel like in those situations, there's always some sort of strings attached. And sometimes the strings might be you having to contend with a very controlling person who wants everything that they pay for. So you want to be mindful of that. You could be dealing with a Taurus individual who might be able to give you a stable living situation, a stable living environment. But like I said, there are strings attached to that, and there might be hidden things attached to that you might not necessarily be 100% aware of, right? Also, so you could be kind of like, you could be in a situation where you meet someone who is a Virgo, or like a Taurus individual, and you really have to take the time and figure out, like, which way do you want to go? Do you want to date this Taurus person, or do you want to date this Virgo person? Both individuals are very stable people, but there are going to be things required of you, going into those dynamics. And so you want to be aware, like I said, of all those things before making any final decisions about where you want to go and what you want to do. Closing out the year in September, October, November, and December, you are going to be moving away from something. I feel like with the Eight of Cups here, again, there's this idea that there is something missing from something that you choose to go into. And so ultimately, you're going to have to walk away from the situation. But this goes back to, again, kind of what's shown here with the Chariot in reverse. And again, the Knight of Swords is showing up here. And so with the Empress in reverse and also the Chariot in reverse, this is a situation where these are things that are not really fruitful, or they're not going to really give you the opportunity to grow, or they're not going to really give you the opportunity to kind of like expand. The Chariot is a card of movement, moving forward. And in this particular situation, the Chariot is in reverse, which means there's no movement and there's no moving forward. The Empress is really a card talking about growth and being able to create, potentially having children, a family, having that type of element of growth and progress. And it's in the reverse. And so if that is something that you're looking for, you want to be mindful. Again, like I said, the Knight of Swords is here. This is something that you're definitely passionate about. This is definitely something that you want. This is definitely something that you desire. But the idea of rushing into a situation because you're thinking that, you might be promised these things, or that this could potentially come out of this particular situation, is really going to blind you to what's in front of you if you aren't really paying attention to the signs, or building something that is built on a solid foundation, as opposed to a superficial one. So you want to pay attention. You want to take your time. You want to let things develop naturally, develop organically, without feeling like you have to make a specific decision or a rush decision, because you feel like if you don't, you're going to run out of time. Okay, so I decided to clarify the Empress in reverse, and that is clarified here by the Three of Swords, which, again, like I said, this is heartbreak. This is the ending of a situation. This is a breaking up of a relationship. And because the cards actually ended up with, I believe that was the Eight of Cups, you're really looking at a situation that you're going to be forced to walk away from at the end, because there is no life in it. There's no ability to create anything. There's no ability to grow. And so when you really discover that, it is going to kind of lead you feeling a little bit heartbroken, because you did invest a lot of your time and your emotion into it. And I wanted to look at the Chariot in reverse, as well as the Knight of Swords. And this is in November. This is these cards came out for the November placement, and they're being clarified by the Five of Wands, and again the Knight of Swords. And so you have a doubling down of the Knight of Swords. Like that's like basically the overall reach of this reading is, move with passion, move with desire, be focused, be determined, know what you want, and go for it. Absolutely, no one's saying that. But I think the warning here is to be mindful of what you're rushing into, and really take your time to think about what it is that you're entering into, especially if it's a contentious situation. Like again, with the Three of Pentacles, if this is a relationship situation, that person could be on a break from someone else when they start with you. They might not necessarily reveal that to you, and so you end up being in a situation where you're squabbling back and forth with someone, or fighting with someone, and it's a really contentious, never-ending, situation that's that you're constantly having to deal with, and that you will eventually have to move away from. And that Eight of Cups is being clarified here. I decided to pull the clarifiers for that, clarified by the Seven of Cups and the Four of Swords. And so this is that break that we were talking about with the separation card that came out in the beginning. So walking away from something, going towards the Four of Swords, means that you're something is going to be ending, and then you're going to need a time to really kind of like sit with yourself, to kind of really get your energy back, to kind of focus on yourself, to rest, to kind of really think about the situation that you're walking away from and why you had to walk away from it, and to really kind of recalibrate yourself. So between the Eight of Cups here and the Seven of Cups, there is an Ace of Cups. And so with every ending, there's always the opportunity for a new beginning. And so what this is really saying is, whatever happens with you this year, you want to make sure that it's not a wasted situation, and that when you come out of it, you've learned something, right? You've walked away with a gem. You've walked away with something that will inform you in the future in how to navigate. You might now know, what to look for when multiple things are being presented to you, or when you're being presented with something that's kind of like blinding you from what the truth is, that you've learned now how to enter into these situations, and you've learned how to navigate them more effectively, and so you won't be making the same mistakes twice. And that, my dear, is the blessing. It's a blessing in disguise. And so you take the lessons and you move forward and you grow from them, and that's really what life is all about. Okay, so that's the end of the reading. I really hope that it helps you and informs you this year and how to navigate and look out, what to look out for. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your time. Please, again, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for post notifications, and I will see you soon.